Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So in the previous video we have seen some idea about how you can use the PyQt library to create a GUI for a calculator. So from this video onwards I'm going to show you some basics of React. So when it comes to React, React is a front-end library which is based on JavaScript used for web development. So when it comes to web front-end libraries for web development, Angular, React, and Vue.js are one of the popular ones right now. But currently, React is something which you should know when it comes to front-end development in the web services. So I'll just take you through how you can initially do some small projects on React as a front-end part. So for this, you need to have some basic prerequisites of JavaScript. So do learn some basics of JavaScript. I'll just put some resources regarding JavaScript and some basics of React as well in the description below. So go ahead and check that out first and then come to this video. So JavaScript is a must for this and yeah. So let's begin with this video. So here in this video, I have created a simple user registration form, just the front end, and it will take the input from the user and store it in a states. So when it comes to React, the some of the important concepts required to know when you are beginning with React is uh, components, states, props, the component lifecycle, updating lifecycle, etc. So there are many more concepts required, but these four or five are the important ones. So I'll just show you the output first, then I'll just walk you through the code so it will be much easier to understand. So I'm using VS Code for uh, in terms of editor. You can have any editor of your choice, but I prefer VS Code because the dev tools options and the debugging is quite easier in this. So I'll just show you how you can initially begin with React, and um, all the resources which are required, like the how you can begin with React, and how you can create a folder, and how you can initially step into the development part of React. I'll just put some good resources on the description below, so go ahead and check that out first before starting off with this video, and do also check the JavaScript basics because it is important, or else you'll not know anything. So do check the description before coming on to this video. And so this is the folder which I have over here, which is user registration, right? So I have two folders over here, but this one is uh, it doesn't matter right now. But the form, this is the main folder. These are the content within that folder, right? So the form folder which have this content, which where the main React support files are. So when you initially begin with React, you just have to create a folder like this. So like the one I've created over here, you can just create a new folder and name it anything you want, sample 2. Just name it and you can open it using the VS Code over here. So initially the folder will be empty, right? You can't see anything. It is empty. So if you click over here and open in terminal, you just need to be connected to the internet, and you have to just type this one, npx create react app. and the app name, for example, login page. So this is the command which is required for creating a basic React app. The foundation of React will be within this folder. So after typing this command, npx react create React app and the app name, you just have to hit enter, and it will automatically download some files and dependencies based on React, and it will give you some results like this. Oh, sorry. So this is my sample 2, right? So it is empty right now. I can delete it now, and I'll show you this one. After hitting enter, after giving the command npx create React app and the app name, and hit enter, you will have some basic dependencies like this was the app name which I have given previously when I had created this folder. This is the profile name, and these are the dependencies. So there will be a bunch of dependencies for React, so you don't have to worry about it, about the node modules, the package, log JSON, package JSON, readme, etc., even the public one. But yes, and the source one. So these are the dependencies and the basic files you get when you initially download some React dependencies using the npx command, right? So yes, so this is the dependencies. I'll also delete this one. So this is our main application form, and within that you will have a folder called source. So this is also automatically downloaded by the command itself, so you don't have to create by yourself. And within that, create a folder called component, which is this one, right? And within that the folder, you will have every component which will be used by your web app. So when it comes to React, the main concept of building an entire front end is divided into components. So for example, you have a profile page, and you have some portions like about section, or a banner or something which shows your projects or something like that. The entire page, even if it's a singular page, is divided and can be divided into components, and you can use those components into a single parent. So this is how React works. I'll just put some good resources and some basic documentation and some documentation of React, so you can give it a read and you will get to know more about the component and how it works. So it will be a better idea if you give a read to it. So you can create a folder called component, and within that you can create your own component. So here I've created another folder where my css is stored, css file is stored, which is this one. And in the main component folder I have a component called form, right? So here is my main application entirely, right? So this is the entire application. This is basically an entire component, and it is in a form of class. So basically, after creating a component, you just have to export this class. So this is how you can export it. And once you have exported it, where you can use it, because you can't directly run this file and hey, you can run your application. No, it doesn't work that way. So after exporting the file, you just have to go in app.js and import that exported class, which is, you can give any name over here. So this is the file which I have exported previously over here in the components folder, this. And in source itself you have app.js. This is our parent component. So do give it a read about components. So this is our parent component. Every uh, React basic React app this will have this parent component app.js. So whenever you type npx create React app and the app name, you'll have this dependencies uh, as a default. So this is a parent component, and we have just imported this parent component, sorry, the child component. So this act as a child, and within the parent you have this form child. So this is my entire component, this is my entire page basically, and you just have to import it from the location where it is, and you can give any name, and based on that name, for example, if I've given login page, and you can use login page like this, right? So it works like this, but I'll just undo it. So this is how it works. So there is a hierarchy when it comes to React. The parent component is like the main root, and below that you have several child components and siblings to it. So when it comes to React, entire thing is based on components and its states. So I'll just put some good resources to get you a better understanding about those things. So here, this is our child component, and this is the form.js which we have created, the components folder, right? So this is our basic app which has a basic form, and that form has some input fields and a button. So this is the form, and it has the input fields have some event handlers, basically for taking the input from user and storing it into a state. So when it comes to React, I'm telling it again, every component within React has its own state. So each and every value gathered from a field or an element from React is being stored in a state. So where is the state now? So this is the state, right? This is the state where the values given by the user is being stored. So this is how it works, and it is within a constructor. Now what is this? So this is basically a one of the method used for binding the handle submit operation with the constructor. You can also use, there are multiple methods of doing this. Basically this is more preferable, and within the documentation this is more um, used. The React documentation recommends this one. So this is the most approachable one, and the first handler is something which will gather the data from the first input field. So there are multiple fields basically. Just this is the first, this is last, and for password, and these are some option values, option select, option drop downs, and there is a input type button and submit basically, and this is our main submit handler within the form on submit event. So this is our main handle submit, uh, where you can store the state of the React when the after the user gives some data to it. So whenever the user provides some input, it will store into a state, and you can call that, set that state within an submit handler. So this is the main submit handler, which is basically on click of a submit button. So you just bind this with that form, and basically this is binded with the constructor as well. So this is one of the method. There are multiple methods of doing or binding the button on click event with the um, class itself. So give it a read. There are many documentation resources, so I'll just put them into the description, so give it a read. And these are multiple handlers for each input type. This is for last name, first name, the password, and for gender. This dot set state. Now what is this dot set state, right? Initially, whenever the state has been given, it is empty, right? The fields of the input fields are empty. So initially it is empty, and whenever the user gives some input for all the fields and hit enter, it will try to set a state with the values provided by the user, right? So this is how it works in React, and I'll just show you the output. So for running the entire application, after merging the parent component with the child and so on, you just have to be in the folder itself and type in npm start. So the development server will be started, and it will redirect you to the browser. So it will take a bit time, but it will start soon. So it has started, and you can see this is our main application. Basically it's an entire component, and with some user input fields and some drop down options and a submit handler. So basically, whenever initially the state is empty, whenever a user enters something and select any value, I'll just open the console in the browser. You can just press F12 for it. By the way, it is a Chrome browser. You can also do it in the Mozilla mail and submit. So OkayDexter, which is an alert box, basically it is taking the values from this first name and the last name, and appending into the, or setting the state from initial to some value which is okay and dexter within that alert box, right? So you can see an object. So if you are familiar with the concepts of JavaScript, entire JavaScript is based on objects. So this is the object with some values. This is the first name, the gender, last name, and the password. So this is how it works. So these are the states of each of these input fields. So for our component form, we have a state, and that state is been stored in the constructor. So this is how basically React works. So all the necessary resources and documentation are provided into the link, the description. So please do check it out before coming to this video, or else I think you'll not get anything. I'll try my best to cover everything in the further videos by doing some basic applications like to do app and things like that. So stay tuned for those videos. And so this is our main approach. So you can see this output. So basically the object over here, you can see through this line. So 45, right? So this is our line 45, form.js 45. So this is how you can show your state, basically the entire state, right? This dot state, just by console logging it, and the values given by the user are appended after setting the state on the submit handler, this handler, right? So this is how it works, and you can see that the alert box has this first name and the last name after setting, after basically uh, when the user gives some inputs. So this is how the React works, and I'll try to uh, bring some more clarity to the topics which I'm going to cover further. And so yes, and the code for this will be available in the description, so you can go ahead and check this out. But I recommend highly to um, work by the initial method, but you do can check the code before beginning with it and read some good resources. So it is better to start with reading some good documentations of React, which will be available in the description. So do check, and also do check some basics of JavaScript because it is necessary. This is the code and this is our entire component, and in the further videos I'll try to create some, I'll try to create some to do kind of an app, and then I'll create a app which can be connected to a database or something like that, which can do an API call and etc etc. So stay tuned for the stay tuned for those videos, guys. And I'm not quitting on to Python, but you should be diverse enough to get with each and every programming language over here. So yep, so this is it for this video, guys, and this is our main application. If you want to see this object, you can just press F12 uh, onto your browser, and you can see this object. After clicking this submit, this object will appear, and this is our main app. And I'll just type some random. So you can see this is how it works, and the states of the input field has been set to empty after submitting the form, right? So this is also one trick you can use. And yep, this was it for this video, guys, and stay tuned for more React as well as Python content. So yep, thanks for watching.